to this very, very special show today. My special guest, Marie-Pierre Valiquette. Marie-Pierre, welcome.
Thank you.
And we'll tell the people why we are here. You probably guess where we are in Témiscamingue just by looking at the background. And yes, we're at the museum, the train station. And if you were here in June, we had the official opening of the exhibition that we have on the second floor concerning our local newspaper. Everybody knows that we don't have the contact anymore, and we all miss the contact. So Marie-Pierre, she's going to tell us how she came about to show us this beautiful exhibit that gives us the history of our newspaper, The Contact, which existed for 40 years. So Marie-Pierre, okay, this is beautiful, by the way. This was an undertaking on your part that it didn't take you very long, and the result is just absolutely famous. You have all these different charts, these tableaux, I don't know how you call them in English, but then just behind us you have in statistics, numbers, pictures. You go back 40 years when you come up here and you look around. So how did this come about, Marie-Pierre? Because this is your idea. How did you decide? How did it come about? Tell us that.
So every year we change the exposition up here, so it's a temporary one, and I didn't have an idea for what was gonna be
because sometimes it could be artists from the area and the Témiscamingue, the county, and they come and it's just for a few weeks. Okay.
For the summer, each summer we change what's showing up. Stairs.
And you just started here as the coordinator at Musée. How long have you been here as the coordinator? Last year?
Director, 3 years ago.
Okay, 3 years ago. Okay. But I guess it takes you time to get involved, and see what you have to do and so on. Okay.
Well, I'm in charge of the temporary exhibition every year, but it's the first year created it. Yes. So it all came about when Hélène Ouellette came to give me bring the archives, because they asked, there's no historical society here per se, so being the museum, we were asked to be the guardians of the archives for the Contact. It's a great
it's an honor.
Yes, absolutely. So when they came around and to bring the archives, it was going in a little
and it wasn't just a few boxes, right?
No. There's 40 years of
and we had a newspaper every week, right?
So there's a lot of boxes full of the original papers. Okay. So when I was looking at them, putting that away in a little cupboard, I was like, this cannot be hidden and just without anything, and forgotten. So we need to do something to remember it and to celebrate it. So that's how the idea came about. And like I said, I didn't plan for the next temporary exhibition yet. So I thought it was exactly the right time.
Timing was
perfect. Right.
But how did you go about it? How do you organize it? You probably visualized it and you probably saw it, but you're looking at all these boxes and binders that are looking at you, and you've got hundreds and hundreds. So how did Marie-Pierre cope with that?
The first thing in my mind was that I knew it was only going to be for the summer here, so I wanted to be able to travel in the region, maybe all around Abitibi. Who knows? So that was the first thing and the only stable thing that was in my mind.
It had to be something that I could carry. It's easy, flexible. I just
easy
roll it up and carry and move.
Travel. Yeah, exactly. So that's how I came about with the design on the banners. And then at first I was reading through the journals, and I was I thought to myself each banner was going to represent 5 or 10 years times, so by decades. But then I was only up to, 1982, so a couple of years after it started, and I had like 10 pages.
You had 35 more years to go.
Yeah. Months had passed, and I had like pages of notes on what I wanted to talk about because everything was interesting. So I had to go about it another way.
So you had to have another plan because
Yeah.
plan A wasn't working.
Right.
So what was plan B?
My sister actually had the idea to go by team.
Okay.
So she said to me, you should look more generally at everything that was written and what comes back and what are the
Take the articles and by themes like
Right.
politics, classified ads, whatever.
So instead of talking about everything that was in the paper, I talked about how it was portrayed by the journalists. Yeah. So yeah, we
That clicked. So
Yeah.
your plan B, you set it in motion. You said,
Yeah.
okay, this is going to work.
From then on, it was easier. Yeah. And so that's how I came about with the design. The design just came one night. That's how art works usually.
What is your background, Marie-Pierre? Are you a journalist by nature?
Not at all. I have a bachelor. Not at all. I have a bachelor.
By nature, yes, but I didn't study in journalism.
You can say that. Yeah, because I actually came upon a couple articles I wrote as a high schooler for the Contact, so that was interesting.
Fast forward to 2017.
Came a long way. But I have a bachelor in arts, visual arts and media arts. Well, yeah. I think it shows that graphically that's my forte.
So you came out, so you finally, your plan B, you decided to go in themes, and if we look at the title of each of those banners, so you have 8 different themes. So how did, because you probably saw with the articles, the theme that was coming more often, so you decided classified ads, for example. I don't know where you want to start. Or the team. Let's start with the editorial team. Let's start with that, because that's the backbone of a newspaper, right?
So the editorial team was made up first with only Danielle Frenette-Gravel, that we all know. So she was alone for a couple years and then was joined by Hélène Ouellette.
So can you imagine at the beginning, go back to 1977, and she was alone to do, so can you imagine all the work involved?
It was humongous amount of work, and they were telling me, her and Hélène, I interviewed them too, and they were telling me at first I think due date was on Monday, and the Monday was a crazy day for them because they had to tally up all the activities that went on during the weekend and plus everything they already had during the week that had just passed, but during the weekend was always more busy.
And
so
sometimes you've got last minute events that happen.
exactly. So they had to put all that together by hand. So they were typing it.
Were they reporters at the same time as they were
Writers and
editors?
they did everything.
They were wearing all the hats.
Yes, yeah, exactly. So, and you have to remember, now we don't, like, even me, I had trouble imagining it at first, but you have to remember they were typing it all by hand, cutting every article and placing.
Cut and paste. Now we just click on the computer and it does it in 2 seconds, but back in the day, no.
Not so much. And so to make it to print, they had to catch the bus. And sometimes they were a little late, so they told me that a couple of times they had to go by car and stop the bus on his way and wait for us. So yeah.
Because it's true, it was a weekly newspaper.
It's incredible the amount of work that went into it. When you think about it, it's crazy.
So that's why we appreciate it so much. Yes, we appreciate it, but we did not know the many hours and that the work involved behind the scenes in order to, everybody was going to the post office on Thursday to what's in the Contact this week.
Yeah. And so just to finish with the editorial team, another mention that we should do is to Sylvie Dupont, that was there more than 10 years too. So, and that leads me to another topic, 2 others actually that just popped, was since it was all-women team, it shows in the article. So there was a really great place given to women in the article. So subjects that were unconventional for the time could be menstrual pain, could be the lack or not even just the lack, but
feminine topics.
Yeah.
Because back then in the early 80s, We didn't talk about that.
It was emerging.
A woman didn't have her place
No,
really
exactly.
in the workforce either.
Right.
So
Yeah, and they had
example.
exactly. They made a big
Did they write
an article
that?
about
When they
yeah.
started going like a female electrician, for example.
Yeah, there were
you know,
no women allowed to
women
work.
in careers and men.
They couldn't.
Careers
They weren't allowed in the
site,
mill on
yeah,
the site.
in the mill.
So the contact covered that, and after they went back and they said, well, here's all the benefits of having the women work at the mill, not just men. No, we're not good at all the same things, but women are good at this and that. So there was that, and Women's Day was always covered. So things like that, you really see that I don't think would have been the same if men would have been editorial. There was one. Yeah, I think he's. I think he
was the only male.
One or two, and they weren't there the same amount of. Oh no. So that's one theme that really stood out. Another one was the bilingualism.
Yes.
So I'm pretty sure the Contact was the only community newspaper that was bilingual, fully bilingual. I'm pretty sure.
Because you probably even before going through the history of the
Yeah.
Contact, like yes, the Contact was the first maybe bilingual, but
Right.
there were always a newspaper before, even if it was
Yeah.
just one page or two,
Yeah,
10 times,
10 times.
or even maybe there was another one before that. Too.
Yeah, I'm not
Back in
sure
the
about before,
CIP
but
days.
10 times
But
was
for being
English
bilingual,
only.
and
Yeah.
that's double
That's huge.
the work. That
Yeah,
is huge
yeah.
because you have to translate, and everybody,
Yeah.
as you'd hear the comment, okay, the article was in French, how come the
Yeah,
English-
that's
well,
what they
we
were
don't have
saying.
room.
Yeah.
Okay, and sometimes
And
there
the
was a
time,
little
too.
note, there was a little note.
You'll see the French version or English,
translation,
yeah.
next week, so
Yeah.
people
And people were
watching.
complaining.
Yes.
They didn't think
Yes.
about all the amount of time that went into doing.
But this is special. This is what we do for our citizens in Temiskaming, that everything that we do, we do everything in any kind of publicity, even our shows, the newspaper, anything, it's bilingual.
Yeah, all the So it's kind of a given for most people, but a lot of efforts go into that.
Yeah.
So that was one of the themes that I wanted to.
Okay, so there's also the local economy, there's public space, classified ads, and local politics. So for sure, yes, like we were saying a while ago, this beautiful banner that covers the 40 years. And it's interesting when you look at the first edition, the date, which is March 2nd, 1977. And then the last edition is on September 27th, 2017. Lots of sevens in that. That would be interesting if somebody study. I don't know. Yeah, we'd have to go and look at that number. Maybe we could do a show on that. And then you look at the faces. Charlie Carpenter. So right away, Charlie Carpenter. You think of Tembec, the closing, and you just look at the pictures. Yes, Frank Dettori and the hockey, and you have just words and the pictures, and it's beautiful. You can look anywhere. Like Claire Joly, she found the name, and it's true. The names that we find, we always think of. Can you read it in French? And at the same time, can you read it in English? So we always think of that. Is it? We're pretty special in Temiskaming, huh? We're great, huh?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay, go.
Oh no, I just want to go on. We didn't really mention it in French, but with the help of my family, we counted every photo present through the 40 years, every every classified ad. So that took
over 20,000 petites annonces.
And more than 1,200 photos. Yeah.
Did you know that in 2021, the town of Temiskaming is going to celebrate its centennial?
Yes.
And did you also know that we have a time capsule to open in 2021? Okay, so that's coming. That's later on there, maybe the year or 2 years before, just to see how we're doing. Yes, all right. Okay, so to come back. So local politics, again, when you look at the banners, there's a picture, there's the date, always the reminding the people, 2017, and then starting in 1977. Pictures are worth 1,000 words. We look at Paul Eugène Benoit. So politics, it covered everything finally when you read the Contact.
And what I mostly noticed is that the same respect and rigor was given to reporting on the simplest thing that only interests Témiscamingue people. So who caught the biggest fish at this derby or whatever.
The biggest, the handler at the moose party who got the,
Oh yeah, the moose party was
the highlight.
was a favorite of the front page. So was the Revue Richelieu. They were
And the
always
skidoo at one point. That was those were three major events.
So the same respect and into details went into reporting those things as regional politics. So hats off to the journalists for that.
And so you see, that's why I mentioned our Mayor Paul-Eugène Benoit back in the days, because when you look at the names of our streets, it's always related to a figure, a well-known figure in town. And when you look, some people when they arrive in Témiscamingue and they say, why so many English streets? Right. Chandler, Winky, so there's a history, Grimmer, like there's Ketchen, you know, there's Muir, Anvik. These are people who are part of our history of the town of Témiscamingue.
Talking about that, the contact was also always present at the community council. Yes. So people didn't even have to show up to those things; they could only read it and
So since the contact, so the community channel, we're trying to do the same thing to cover the municipal affairs every month following the town council, so the people are aware what's going on, because that's what the contact was giving us, what's going on in town.
And some people don't know, but the community channel was born from the contact,
And they were located together. At the same, and it was very, very tiny. That could be another, maybe one will be 25 years. Maybe 25 years we could do a little something.
Be close, 25 years.
We'd have to go check the archives. Maybe if you're boring, you're looking for somebody to, something again to do the archives and the archives. Next winter? Okay, just tell us when.
So yeah.
Okay, so very, very interesting, and I think your plan B worked out to decide to go by themes, and it's so interesting, and then you see everything, and everything is translated. So this was a huge undertaking, Marie-Pierre, and you succeeded beautifully.
Thank you. And that way too, without going by theme, you can stumble, like you can start anywhere in the expo.
Like it doesn't follow from one. You can go anywhere. Yeah, it's beautiful.
And something we didn't talk about in English, but in French, we're in English.
This is what happens. Sometimes we forget which cassette we have in our little brain, but that's okay. I've done that often too, don't worry.
But let's not forget Sally, because she was such a big part of the newspaper and people were waiting for it. And I could never...
We always tried to guess who are they talking about. So we kept, a car accident or something. We kept looking for the famous car. Or it was, and even Sally's predictions in the, January 1st
of the year. And I could never.
Did you ever find out who Sally was?
I was gonna say I could never take it from the journalists. They were silent about that. They'll take it to their.
Will go down in the boxes and the archives and.
I don't even know. So, but I know that it was a man at first who wrote it. So he brought the article every week. He brought it, and it was just it was only in English at first because they didn't have the time to translate it.
Sometimes you lose the punchline when you translate also.
Yes. So, and after when he stopped doing it, people wanted it so much to continue that the journalists had to go on with it. So that's how I was told.
So you weren't able to bribe them with anything? Nope.
No, I tried.
So it's sealed forever in the... Okay.
But what I did is I recorded voices of people reading. Yeah, exactly. Yes. So I recorded someone reading the Sally, so we can just put the little... yeah, exactly.
But you know what, Marie-Pierre, a lot of people, most of the people are bilingual in Témiscamingue, and sometimes they'll notice that when we do the 2 interviews in both languages, sometimes we add, it's always a little bit different, so, and we've heard the comment, we always listen in the other language, because sometimes you hear, oh, she didn't say that in French, so it's interesting, so let's keep them, so they keep watching us.
Yeah. So yeah.
So, well, Marie-Pierre, hats off to you and bravo. You succeeded. You accomplished in just a few months, and you took it as it was your baby, and you went with it, and it's a success. So congratulations, Marie-Pierre.
I loved it. Yeah. So thank you.
Well, you're very welcome, and to be able to take some time from your work to show us and to explain to us how this all came about, because it looks easy, but you know, to do it, that's a completely different story.
Same as the contact. It looked easy, but so much work went into it. So I encourage people to come see the exposition. It's free all summer. Usually we have a fee, but this summer, since it was so important to the community, we decided to have it free.
What time? What are the hours for? Because it will show it at the bottom of our screen, but maybe just our viewers. What are the hours for the museum?
Since we have the Tourist Information Center in the museum, we're open every day. So every day of the week from 10 to 6 and up to 8 p.m. on Thursdays and Fridays.
So even on weekends, Saturday, Sunday, 7 days a week. Yeah. Bravo. Okay.
Yes.
Well, thank you very much, Marie-Pierre, and hats off to you again. Bravo. So my special guest today, we said at the beginning, this was a very, very special interview, and I think now you know why. If you stayed with us since the beginning, my guest, Marie-Pierre Valiquette, who is the director here at the museum, and we learned all the history and how all of these banners came about and what she did to create this beautiful exhibit. And don't miss it, because it's free. The door is always open. Any day during the week between 10 and 6 o'clock. Come and see this and just walk around and just go back in the history of our local newspaper, The Contact. And on this note, we wish you a nice day, and we'll see you next time.